Welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, another prime time edition, April 18th here, 2021. Host here, Darren Breyer, along with my other host, Tyler McGurk. What's going on, T? What are you doing, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Had a good day today. Got to knock some balls around with you. Our wives let us knock the ball around.
Yep, played a little golf. That was good. That was fun. I thought I actually played pretty decently. I had a very bad hole, but other than that, I was happy with my performance for the most part.
I definitely brought up the rear
A
today.
little bit. Yeah, it's fun to get out there. It was a nice day out there too. So that was a good thing. It was good doing that. We're gonna have a good show here. We're gonna do multiple sports we talked about. We're gonna do hit the NBA a little bit, a little MLB. We're gonna finish up with our baby chef moment. Our NFL guy Brian Johnson's gonna come back on.
Brian Johnson.
I know there's some good stuff we want to get into. Adams Patriots we want to touch on as well. So stay tuned, and then we also want to maybe see if we can rile them up a little bit. That's always our best part. See if we can maybe get them to bite on something, right? Isn't that the goal a little bit? All good fun though, right? All good fun.
Oh, absolutely.
He does it. Let's start with the NBA first. That's the sport me and you were. It's kind of getting down to the end here. We have about 4 weeks left. Playoffs start May 22nd. But let's start with our hometown team. Let's start with the obvious. I feel like we've kind of been hard on them a little bit this year, just because the team hasn't been as good. We still haven't admitted that it's his fault that the team is not doing as well. But Curry this week becomes the all-time leading scorer for the Warriors, right? Scoring 53 points in fashion against the Nuggets.
He's been on fire for like 2 weeks now, like 10 straight games where he's just on fire.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start there.
He's something else.
Let's pay our respects to Curry here and just kind of put in perspective, kind of where we came from as Warriors fans and what he's kind of brought, where he ranks in the Warriors system here. And let's put his last 10 games into perspective here. Here's his stats from the last 10 games, just to give you. He's averaging 39.1 points per game on 48.6% shooting from behind the three-point line.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. He also is averaging 6.4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and he's probably slacking shooting 90% from the free throw line. So
that's his career average.
That's his career average. So he's there with it. But the only thing that kind of sucks too is that the Warriors are only 6-4 in those games, right? So it's not like they're. It just shows you how flawed they are as well. But let's not focus on that here. Let's focus on Curry a little bit. What's just kind of your thoughts of him and just him breaking the Warriors all-time scoring record? Pretty cool.
He's just special. He changed the whole basketball scene in the Bay Area. Before him, it was the We Believe for a year, and before that was Run TMC for 2 years, and before that it was Barry maybe in 74, 75, 76. So we had 3 good years of basketball in the last 60 years until we got little Steph out of Davidson coming around, just doing these crazy things that just no one else can seem to do like him. And
he's at least started a trend, that's for sure. That's like that.
He's changed basketball.
That's the narrative there with him. I have a question with him. It kind of fascinates me with him. I'm into records and things like that and how people look at you legacy-wise. How do you view, Babe Ruth in our baseball world? He was always viewed as this, right, legendary figure.
The home run guy.
The home run record. And I kind of feel like
100 nicknames.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what Curry's kind of brought to he's going to bring to the three-point shot when it's all said and done. I think he's going to be so far ahead in some of these categories. Not saying somebody will never break it, but he's I don't know the stat right off my hand, but I believe he has 20 games where he's made at least 10 or more three-pointers, and I believe the next most is, I want to say, James Harden at 5. You know what I mean? It's just the stat like that. They're almost like Jerry Rice-esque when it comes to this. You know what I mean? That's why I compared it to Babe Ruth. What do you think about that? Do you think he is like the Babe Ruth, or is Lillard in that class? I mean, was there somebody there, or he just seems,
I don't think Lillard moves like Steph. And he's not shooting 8 threes a game. He's taking 16 threes a game. And they're not all just catch and shoot. It's all off the dribble or catching and maneuvering around a guy, pump faking. Is he Babe Ruth? I guess he'll be compared like in the home run and I don't think he'll be as legendary as Babe Ruth. Like be like,
But like towards the
this
3-point
myth.
record.
Yeah, I think the 3-point record will be synonymous with
Like, will he set
Curry.
it so
Like the
far
home
apart?
run is synonymous with Babe Ruth.
And will he set it so far apart, basically? Like, Babe, he was so far ahead for so long.
I think Trae Young might even come close, like in the ballpark of just because he shoots so many. And like,
I don't know. Well, let me ask you this question about Curry's streak.
is he different? He's the first one, yeah, and he's the best by far.
All right,
But
let
the
me ask
game
you this.
changed.
Yeah, and I just feel like he's, obviously he's unreal. So he's on that incredible streak now of 10 games with 30 or more points. I don't know how many of those games are 40 and 50s. He's had a few of those in there as well.
Yeah.
Chamberlain holds the franchise record at 12. He did that in 1964. Do you think he breaks it?
I thought he had like 65.
Not in a row. Not in a row though, I think.
I thought it was some crazy like number.
Oh,
maybe I don't think
well,
he's
we're talking.
12
I'll look at the
anyway.
one though. Well, we're talking. I'll look at the other one too.
I don't think he's getting the 12 now.
No, you think he's gonna get stopped here?
I mean, he's never done it before, so I don't think and this team's not that good. Like there's just and the way teams cover him,
they just double him too
you
much.
don't see anybody get covered like that. I'd say he's almost more like Shaq of the perimeter. Like you can't not have two guys near him or else he's gonna win.
Yeah, he is unreal. I mean, he's been on fire too as well. Let's go to now that we're on starting kind of brought up Chamberlain and all these guys. Who's your top 5 Warriors list? Like who? If we don't really think about it, we'll go to Chamberlain's era. So if you had somebody, we'll go from him on. Who do you think are the greatest Warriors? Obviously, he played for the Lakers, so he's not gonna count for.
Chamberlain doesn't count.
Huh?
Chamberlain doesn't count.
Oh, Chamberlain he counts for sure.
Okay. Well, Chamberlain.
All right.
Barry. Durant, Clay, Curry.
All right. This is the NBA reference what they got for their top 12 players here, just to give you a perspective on some of theirs.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So they got this is based on their ratings here. I got my top were Curry, Chamberlain, Thompson, Barry, and Mullen, and then I probably would have Green right after that. That'd probably be my list.
Green before Durant.
How about this guy here on the second to far right? Would you have Tom Gula? Would you have
Tom Gula? Tom Gula can Gula his way out of here.
That sounds like
who are these? Who's 3 and 4?
That sounds like something from an Adam Sandler movie or something like that.
Probably is. Who's 3 and 4?
All right, I'll tell you who they are. So you got Wilt Chamberlain, Curry. They got Paul Arzin, Neil Johnston, Rick Barry, Mullen.
This list is trash. This list is garbage.
Jeff Mullins, Green, Thompson, Gula, and Purvis Short. They believe they're top 12 on that list. I think Durant's probably could be arguably on there.
You can't have Barry at 5 over Arvis and Johansson.
Or Gula. You gotta have Gula up there a little bit.
Oh,
you don't remember Gula.
And
you remember
this list is garbage.
Jump hook across the middle. It was good.
I'm sure he probably shot it with 2 hands. And
hey, what's your Curry top 2 moments?
I mean, mine is actually one of them's the Clay game 6, just because that game, and he was so integral part. He might not have been the main part, but he did so much in that game. He had a 3 with 4 minutes left to cut it to 1. Then he hit another 3 with 2:30 left to tie it. And then he iced it when he danced on Ibaka and drove right and hit that little floater. So that was my first game.
Yeah.
And then my second game was going to be the double bang game against the Thunder, but I decided to go with game 6 of the 2019 the conference semis against the Rockets when Durant was out. Curry busted his hand in the game before, and he had 0 points in the first half, and it looked like we were going to game 7 with a banged up Curry, no Durant, but in the second half, He scored 33 points, and they ended up blowing him out. And I was just when he did that, I was like so worried. I was like, oh my god, we might blow this like season.
That was the Rockets one, right?
Yeah, against the
Yeah.
Rockets.
Yeah, those are good ones. I have the Curry Thunder one with the double bang there. I just feel like that's just kind of. I feel like that's the game. I don't know. Just there's something about that game. Just kind of.
The Knicks game was amazing too. That was the first one.
That was a good one too, for sure. I didn't have that one on there. And then the game that I thought like that also for me where I was like, oh, this guy's the real deal was game 4 against the Nuggets when he started kind of going more like with those crazy shots when Mark Jackson was still coaching the team.
Oh, this was against Iguodala.
Yeah, and they go up 3-1, and he hits like 3 crazy ones. He ends up with like 9 threes or something like that. And
Yeah.
he's kind of starting that run of like this guy that's making way more threes than anybody else. And so that one, and also game 2 in that series because they lost game 1 and he didn't play very good, and then game 2 he played very well, and I was like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean, like bounced back, and I just saw, and I was like, all right, this guy's the real deal for sure. So I thought it was good there. We talked about Curry. I put his stats up there for a little bit for people that are watching here on YouTube. So look at his career stats. They're pretty unreal. So Warriors fans, enjoy them when we have them. Right? That's basically all we could do right there.
Fans get in the arena soon. So you can even enjoy them live soon.
That's true. I haven't been to a game in the new arena. Have you?
No. I mean, it's been shut down for like
yeah, it was only open for a little bit there. Well, they had concerts there too, or something. I don't know.
Wow. I don't count that.
All right, let's be back. We'll touch on some of the rest of the NBA. All right, we're back. We're going to talk a little bit more of the other NBA topics here. Let's get into the Nuggets again. That's the team that we kind of talked about last week. We're just we're West Coast bias out here. That's just the way it is, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't get home and work enough. All the East Coast games are like they're already over with. So we're West Coast here. The Nuggets intrigue me. That's just the reality of it too. They're going to probably have the MVP on their team. Murray gets hurt last week in that 53-point game, like
tough
the last
injury.
minute. Oh my gosh. Do not go to the rim hard. No, I was kidding. 2-foot jump stops. 2-foot jump stops, people. But it just bad luck. It's too bad. They were really kind of coming on a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was starting to gel, play well.
Yeah, and it was kind of curious to see how much better they were going to get before the season ended with Gordon there as well. But the question I have is about Michael Porter Jr. He, for people that don't follow the NBA maybe as much, he was like a first round pick of the Nuggets, picked like I want to say 13th or 14th overall. But out of high school was a top recruit, maybe the number 1. Went to Missouri, got hurt right away. Maybe played like half a game or something too. And is this a chance for him to be a breakout star? Because he's playing with the MVP. I would think they got to get him more looks, right? He's a pretty good scorer. What do you think? I know you kind of like him.
I love him as a player. I think it's his best chance to be that player because they have a good backup point guard. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Moore, right?
Yeah. Is that it, Moore?
I think so.
Yeah, and he's a solid player, so he can still not be a liability out there. Well, I think Porter isn't create his own shot guy yet.
Yeah.
I think he should be used more like Clay and then on cutting and stuff. But I think he could be a lethal shooter and turn into like Jason Tatum now.
I think with the Nuggets too. I think they have a chance to really use him. Like with Murray being that
bigger than everyone thinks.
With Murray being that number 1 option, I just saw a few things against the Warriors that game where I was like, oh man, they could really take advantage of him a lot more with Jokic like slashing to the hoop, and he's actually a really good 3-point shooter too. He's not a bad 3-point shooter at all. I'm showing the standings here for people at home, just kind of get you updated on the NBA here as well. We're just trying to do some different things here on the podcast here. Something else that's been kind of bothering me, then you can tell me something that you've been noticing this week about the NBA, is players sitting out. I feel like maybe this is this time of year or something, but man, they just completely sit out all the time. I just feel like every game there's just 1 or 2 guys, resting and, like the primetime game. I was stunned. Last night was a great primetime game because at least nobody was sitting out, right? Or at least for the most part.
Yeah. And every time you turn on a game,
Yeah, isn't it
Just
usually always
like,
somebody's out?
yeah, the Warriors played the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was out.
Am I being ridiculous about this? Am I being
No,
over the
I
top
think
about this?
it's crazy. Too many. I don't know. Maybe people
Is
get
it
hurt a
bad for
lot.
the
Like,
sport though, Tyler? Like, I mean, come on, like, I mean, like, at what point are like you think of the fans? It's like, it's my issue with baseball when they take guys out like 5 innings and 80 pitches. I'm like, how about the entertainment standpoint for like the people watching? I don't know. That just kind of bothers me a little bit.
I mean, as a fan, you have every right to be bothered. I like it bothers me sometimes. Depends on the like if it's for like a team that's not even in the playoff. If you're resting a guy who's kind of dinged up, then do it.
Like
But
James
like
Harden,
just to
I'm good
rest a
with.
guy,
He doesn't miss games.
no, he never misses games.
Yeah,
Almost a fault of his. He always
yeah.
gets burnt down in the playoffs.
I don't know. That's just
It
something that's kind of on my mind with it.
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. What do you see anything this week in the NBA?
Jaylen Brown's a stud. Not Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum.
Tatum.
He just
You've always
watching him
loved
against the
Tatum.
Warriors. They had no answer. Draymond Green's supposed to be a great defender. He scored 45 points on 21 shots or 23 shots.
He's the
Do
best defender
something.
of all time, he said.
He's the worst player in the NBA almost right now.
Oh, come on. You're just
That
hating on
starts,
him.
he doesn't contribute
Oh,
anything.
I
Did
can't
you see
wait to
that
get
play
Adam
I
on here. I
posted
can't
on?
wait to get Adam on
Did
here
you see
next
that
week.
play I posted on Twitter? He's trash. He has a 6'3" point guard on him, 5 feet from the hoop, and you get a three in the key without
Oh,
even looking at the. There was not one instinct to even move towards the hoop.
you did put that on Twitter. That was actually a good video. That was actually very good analysis from you. I'll give you credit on that
Pathetic.
one. I was impressed. I even saw 15 views at one point. Maybe you're up to more by now, but that was actually
That's
pretty good.
impressive.
That was pretty good. I'm impressed. Hey, so NBA standings up there. Jazz, Suns still in there. Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers, Blazers, Mavericks, Grizzlies. So that's the top 8 there. The East, you got the Sixers, Nets, Bucks, Hawks, Celtics, Knicks, Heat, Hornets. The Hornets still sticking up there, still hanging on by a thread in there with no LaMelo.
Playing
Very impressive. Coach of the year
playing the
material.
Nevada Twins, the
Yes,
Musselman brought in.
I'm
It's
impressed.
so funny to watch them play basketball in the NBA.
The
What a winning
Martin.
team.
Is it
Yeah, the
Martin, right?
Martin
Cody
brothers.
Martin and what's the other guy's name? Is it Cody, right?
Garbage. Trash.
Hey,
Just kidding. You guys are good players.
so let's get into it. We'll get more into the standings next week. Hopefully with Adam coming on, we'll get into the Warriors. Maybe we'll break down the playoffs a little bit more coming on because there's only going to be, I think, 2.5 weeks left when we do the podcast next week. So, and Adam, if people that don't know, our friend Adam really knows his basketball, and he's good to talk to about it. So it'll be interesting getting his takes on it.
Leave a comment. Let us know if you think Green's trash or still
He's
all-star
not
caliber
trash.
player.
He's not trash.
He's trash.
I don't know
Garbage.
about that.
For what he's paid, he's trash.
Maybe for that, I'll give you that. All right, let's get NCAA take real quick. Arizona hires a new coach. What's your thoughts? Anything?
I mean, I don't
Everybody
know.
knows you're a
Everyone
Wildcats
seems
fan.
to like the hire as far as, except for people in Tucson. I was reading some local like.
What's the guy's name? Tell us that first.
Greg Lloyd or Tommy
Greg
Lloyd. Tommy Lloyd. He's at Gonzaga for 20 years. He's good at international, I guess, recruiting, which Arizona has done well with Markkanen and Roostitz and a couple other bigs. They've pulled them out. But Richard Jefferson says this is a debacle. And he has like his name on the gym or like on a weightlifting thing.
He said that?
And he said like, Tommy, I'm behind you. I hope for the best, but this administration's terrible right now. So
like they should have hired
there's
like
still a lot
Miles
of
Simon or
turmoil
something.
in Tucson. Well, he was upset with them interviewing Stoudemire and Miles Simon, and he said they just did that for like a Rooney Rule look.
Gotcha.
Like they said they wouldn't get backlash. They didn't really give him a fair chance.
Yeah, college
This was going to be the
basketball,
hire the whole time.
They don't do much diversity in college basketball either with their hires very often. Not in the West, not as much as you would think. But I don't know if that was the issue with that one. Arizona, I liked your Musselman idea. That would have been a good hire.
They didn't even talk to him. That was another thing they were upset about. They didn't talk to him.
It could be bad, Arizona's program now. This could be, I mean, who knows? Maybe this guy's a good coach, but who knows? Maybe he's not.
You're getting a Gonzaga assistant. That's not a good, like,
yeah,
what you're looking for from Arizona.
Yeah, it's a little rough there. Well, good luck to you in your Arizona
We'll need
Wildcats
it.
next
Bear
year.
down.
They're bear down for sure. That is for sure there. All right, we'll be back. MLB segment coming up next. All right, we're back. Major League Baseball, part of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. We do it all here, like we said. Interesting week baseball wise. Our fantasy baseball week, second week, so we're into it. We kind of know we're picking up random guys that nobody knows. Adolis Garcia, I'm picking up. I'm worried about Jesse Winkler. These are the guys, that I'm stressing out about. So not your home names here that people know. So we'll have good knowledge for you on this podcast as well. But first, we also want to get into our Bay Area teams as well. Tyler, both our teams actually playing quite well right now. A's currently on an 8-game win streak. I'll get into them in a second.
You guys are on fire.
Let's start with you first in the Giants. They're up to a +3 differential, so they're doing better than what we talked about.
We're 9-6.
Their pitching is surprising me. They seem like they're just developing a lot of trade pieces, even though they're playing well.
A lot of.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on the Giants, and they're actually playing pretty well so far. So, what's your thoughts?
I'm perplexed. I don't know what to like. I looked at everything. And I just don't. They have 3 hitters over 300, and they're like 311, 305, 302. And they have Posey at 265. And everyone else is below 210. So you have 4 hitters above 265, and Yastrzemski's hitting like 190. The starting pitching is actually pretty decent. I like all their starters have some talent, and they can be. They're not aces, but they're all 3 to 4, maybe 2 for Gosman. So they have that, and then the bullpen anchored by Jake McGee doesn't give me much confidence, and that'll hold up.
Why is that?
Because Jake McGee is not a very good closer, so you don't have a closer.
Well, I mean, yeah. Who else would close? Don't they have the Montoya guy that you like?
No, Montoya. I like Colano.
I'm looking at the roster right now. Who they got? I guess they don't have him anymore. Maybe he's hurt.
I don't know. I like Colano or something.
Wood pitched well today.
Yeah, Wood's been good. DeSclafani's been good. Aaron Sanchez has been good.
Gosman got rocked.
Their starting pitching's fine. And they have 2 starters, and they're not even really starters.
They're more anywhere, though.
They're more platoon pieces that are all over 30.
Yeah, that's what you said. They're not going anywhere. So it's got to be their trade. It just seems like they're developing trade guys that they can get rid of. Like, this is the Randy Wynn era all over again, I feel like. That's why I just.
It's better than the Randy Wynn.
The Randy Wynn, Benji Molina. This is the era. I went to those games when they were losing to Adrian Gonzalez.
They were a pathetic era.
Get that notebook out of our face. We want to see it.
In between Bonds and in between Bonds and Lincecum was a rough era.
So if they're like 500 by, let's say, like June, are you saying like let's go for it, or you're like let's trade?
No, hell no. I'm not saying. I want them to go get players that could help us for a full season. Not now.
No, come on.
You can't win with Gosman.
You said they're pretty good pitchers. You said you trust them.
Yeah, for regular season.
Well, you can't go back on your word. You just said you like
it. It's like he can go on. Baseball is different in the regular season as it is the playoff. That's why the A's never win in the playoffs. They don't have playoff pitching.
And they don't have playoff hitting. They don't make any damn contact.
They just have good players so they can keep healthy and stay sharp, do your little platoons and win games.
Well,
both teams aren't very exciting per se.
Well, the A's at least have Laureano. Should we get into the A's a little bit here? Should I get into the A's?
Yeah, I have Giants. For being 9-6, they're the worst 9-6 team I've ever watched.
The A's actually at least have a guy here that's going for steals every day, so that's at least nice to watch when he's on base. Laureano, he's been surprising me. Going for just I don't know. I'm just surprised the A's actually have somebody that goes for steals. To me, that's just
they've never.
Let's see. Let me get to the stats. I got the A's stats up here for people that are watching.
I feel like since Billy Bean's been there, they haven't stolen more than 20 bases with someone.
Yeah, Laureano's got 8. And Canna, I believe, leads the league in runs. Yeah, he's got 18 runs, which is surprising as well. He's batting leadoff. I did not. I
You've
thought that would.
been ripping on Canna.
I didn't think that would. I didn't think that would last, but he does get on base. He just finds a way, gets a lot of walks, and but let's look. I want to show you this with the A's on base percentage. This is what they are. They Canna, Lowry, Olson, Murphy, and Kemp, Piscotty, Laureano. So they got like 9 guys over 300, which isn't bad for on base percentage. But then you go to their average, and it's like this is where it falls off in the playoffs.
Can't be worse than the Giants.
Well, it's they only got a few guys like Lowry's batting 333, and Pinder, he's been out most of the year. My point is, when you get to start to play the better pitchers, they don't walk you, so you need to be able to get hits. And so, like, I just feel like that's the part that I feel like still they're lacking in. But at least they're more entertaining. They're off to a 1-7 start. Now they're doing at least like a little bit better. There. Bassett's back to pitching better. Manaya's pitched better so far, but they beat the Tigers. They beat some team. Yeah, they beat the Astros. That was nice to see. But we'll see. I'm not really. I think both our Bay Area teams were kind of like both on the water with them, but we're just going to keep updated week to week. Right now, I think both our teams are in good shape. Let's just put it that way. Early on, they're in good shape in the season. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they're better than where I expected them to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get into some other teams in the MLB. What did you the team that's let's start with the best team. I'm gonna bring up the standings here.
Fuck the Dodgers.
No, we got to talk about it. I'm sorry, but they're unreal. 13 and 3.
They lost today.
Yeah, exactly. So 13-3 right now. They have a plus 38 run differential. And the weird thing is, like, you look at their lineup, and like you said, we talked yesterday, like they're very top heavy in their lineup. So it's kind of weird, like when you have like Turner 3, and then like you don't think of Muncy as like unreal at 4, and Chris Taylor unreal.
I don't even think you think of Turner as unreal at 3, to be honest.
No, you don't. And so they're just solid hitters with good Will Smith batting 4, and I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting team to be so offensively savvy like that. But they're.
I mean, it's their pitching though.
Yeah, 50.
Their pitching is unreal. They have 2 guys like not even in the rotation that throw 100.
These are the standings early on.
Like Torkel or Torkel or something. I don't know his name, but he came up last year and pitched in the bullpen.
It's surprising. Royals, Mariners, Red Sox, Angels have the best record so far.
The Mariners shocked, man. Watching them that first weekend, I was like, these guys suck.
It's because but they haven't made the playoffs since Ichiro made it. Are you kidding me? That's unreal. Over 20 years.
One of the greatest ESPN commercials ever. Ichiro. The little girl and the.
Hey, I want to get into the Yankees too. Remember at the beginning of the year, we both picked them to make the World Series, and I watched them play for the first few games, and I'm like, you know what? Their lineup isn't quite as good as I thought it was. Like, Aaron Hicks bats 3. Right, Judge bats 2nd, and DJ LeMahieu. Like, I have this theory.
You're a little overrated.
DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's overrated, but I just feel like, can he have the same year he had last year, where he's the batting champ? He's still batting 286, right? But he's going to have the same year that he had the year before. So I don't know. What do you think about them getting? They got swept by the Rays.
I think them missing the first baseman hurts them. I think Clint Frazier getting off to that slow start hurts them. And they don't have the pitching. German or whatever has been sent down to the minors or the whatever that camp thing.
Yeah, they're. I mean, how often do they have only 55 runs scored? They're usually like dominating in runs scored in the AL East.
Oh yeah, they normally average like 6 a game, 7 a game.
They have the least
this early.
No, that's quite.
They're the least amount of runs
in the AL East. Yeah.
AL East is always loaded, but that's still bad.
Let me look at that. They actually have the least in the AL.
No, that's not good.
That's.
Yeah, I thought watching that first week in Seattle was the worst team.
Okay, guess who has the least amount of runs scored, but they're in first place.
I mean, I can see your screen, but
go ahead.
They're in first place.
Yeah.
The Brewers.
Nope, the Mets. They have 37 runs scored, but they've given up only 37. So that tells you where the Mets are as well in the standings. Um, so I don't know. I'm just so pumped about baseball. Every day when I was a kid, I'm going to sound like a nerd here for a second. I would look at the paper and look at the standings, look at the stats, and just like I don't know. I just always
Look at the
analyze these
league
things.
leaders.
Yeah, exactly. Acuna Jr. You said he got hurt. I didn't know that today.
I heard his bottom abdomen, supposedly sliding back into first on a pickoff move.
So he's gonna have to pull a Tiger Woods and activate those glutes before the game day.
I don't know what he's got to do. He's got to do something.
One of the greatest quotes still of all time. I gotta activate my glutes. Who says that? I don't know. I don't know who says that. I gotta activate my glutes.
Tiger Woods when he's in machine mode.
Oh man, that's awesome. I wanted to also bring up. I hope I have this up here. Dang it, maybe I didn't have it. I wanted to bring up the home run leaders. It was stunning to me who's leading the league in home runs. Have you seen actually who's leading?
No.
All right, I gotta bring it up real quick.
I'm guessing Trey Turner's up there.
I know this is gonna be a little longer podcast, but we always do that for the primetime ones, right? This is just the way we do it. Like you said, that's why we break it up into segments here too on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. I'll put it on there where if you only want to listen to NBA, you can cut it up like that. But anyways, here's the home run leaders. Obviously, we have the Acuna Jr. is not a shock. He's a stud. I think me and you say he's maybe not on Trout's level, but he's just as exciting as Trout.
No, he's just good.
Ramos, Escobar, Niquin, McCann, Turner, Freeman, Martinez, Perez, Castro. Not guys I would expect. You know what I mean? Not the big.
No. Is that Escobar the same Escobar from Arizona? Yeah. I can't remember that.
He had a bad year last year. He was available on waivers in our fantasy league last week.
He was unreal 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know I had him. He helped me win a championship. Thank you for the reminder. You know, what's the deal? Let's look at Yadier Molina. I mean, I want to talk about him for a second. Is he not just in our era? He's got to be the best catcher, right?
I mean, I think he's the worst best catcher of their era, though.
Let me ask you this: like, I know you're a Giants fan, but would you rather have him or Molina? Like, are they even?
Him or Posey?
Yeah.
I'd rather have Molina because he's more consistent for longer.
It's crazy how good he is to me. I don't know.
But he's no Pudge or Piazza.
And he's so damn clutch. He is clutch.
He plays in the playoffs every year.
But even the regular season, he just hits emotional home runs. He's just, I don't know. There's something about him. If I was a Cardinals fan, I'd be excited. Nick Castellanos, I've been watching him more. He is really.
He's a stud. I thought he was a bum on Detroit.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to bring this home run leaders up because I just wanted to show you how shocking it was. Like, it's not really like dominating like the way I thought it was going to be. Last week we thought there was a lot of home runs. There's really not that many as much right now as I thought there was going to be. 7's the leader. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not as many as sometimes there is.
In 2 weeks, that's not that bad.
No, it's not as much as we think there is. You got any baseball stories you wanted to bring up this week? Anything that you saw?
Not that I can think of. Kershaw is unreal.
Yeah, so we know that. Yeah, if you got nothing, I got one good one then. I want to bring up this Joe West, Paul LaDuca thing I was telling you about during the week.
So I don't get what you were saying.
Huh?
I still don't get what you were saying earlier,
Okay,
so I'd love to hear the story now.
All right, so here's the story. So this week, Paul LaDuca, Joe West, who's an umpire for Major League Baseball, he basically sued Paul LaDuca because during a podcast that Paul LaDuca was on, he basically said that when he was catching Billy Wagner during a Mets-Phillies game in 2006 or 2007, he says that West called 3 straight batters out on strikes. The umpire adds that LaDuca claimed Wagner told him the reason he got the calls was the pitcher allowed West to drive his 1957 Chevy. So basically, LaDuca went on a podcast, told these guys this story about like basically, hey, you know Billy Wagner, when he was an umpire, I'd say, yeah, he came up to me and said, set up inside. All 3 pitches were about 3 feet inside. Yeah, and he winked at me, nodded. And so Joe West has an issue with it. This is a year ago. He sued him because he he wants to make the Hall of Fame and he doesn't want his credibility to be challenged. And so basically, they look back at the stats, and it's pretty easy to prove because, Paul Duca never caught Billy Wagner with Joe West umpiring. So Paul Duca basically just a flat out lie. And basically, Joe West just made the easiest $500,000 he just made because he just that's what happened. He basically just won $500,000 because Duca went on a podcast, said this stuff about Billy Wagner getting a big strike zone because when Joe West was in town, he let him borrow this Chevy, and Joe West sued him for it. So the word is, me and you better not lie about anything on here to anybody.
Paul Duke is an idiot is the word out.
That also is true about it. But I just thought that was a funny story. And people that don't know Joe West in baseball, he's this umpire that's been around for
fucking Joe West. Everybody
kind of has an issue with him as well. All right, well, baseball this week. There's some pretty good series coming up. The A's unfortunately going to be postponed a lot this week because they were about to play the Twins, but they have COVID issues. And also, if there might be some games canceled, I wouldn't be surprised because of if there's a result in that the police officer in Minnesota. If that comes up, I wouldn't be surprised some games are canceled as well. Let me go through real quick here some of the series see if one kind of catches your attention here during the week here. Giants at Philadelphia. That's not a bad bad little series there as well.
Giants are irrelevant.
I kind of like the Milwaukee at San Diego. That one's gonna be on my list a little bit. I'll probably be checking in on that one.
Corbin Burns going? See, I think it's all about pitching matchups.
Well, I mean, sometimes I also like division matchups once in a while. If I see something in there, I'm also liking the St. Louis Washington series. I kind of like those.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like that one. The Mets at Chicago. I kind of like that one too. So I'd probably say that one. Then we get to the weekend series here. I want to get to the weekend series here right before we get on here. Let's see who the Giants play this weekend. Giants playing Miami again. Let's reverse it. Dodgers at San Diego again this weekend as well.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That'll be a good one as well. So, yeah, some pretty good series coming up as well. Milwaukee at Chicago. Oh, that would be a good series. Always NL Central teams. Usually
a lot of beanballs. Did you see I just saw the Chicago Cubs are the most bean team in NL Central, of course.
Justin Turner leads the league in beanballs. He gets it the most. Just a little fun fact there. All right, well, is it time? We'll get Baby Chef on here.
It's time for
NFL draft preview, people. We're only 3 weeks away. We're going to get this on. Enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed our MLB segment there. We're getting Brian on here. And all right, we'll be back. All right, welcome back. NFL segment here, the Fatboy FadeAway Sports here. Primetime edition, Tyler McGurk. And look at our special guest here. What we've been waiting for all week. We have him back now. He's going to be a guest on here every few weeks, folks. NFL time's getting closer. NFL draft's getting closer. He's a big Niners fan. Niners have been in the news with the trades. We had to have him on again. Captain America himself, Baby Chef himself, nicknames through the wazoo. Brian Johnson, welcome back to the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. How you doing, big guy?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're ready to talk some NFL, pick your brains, maybe get you to get a little excited about some information here. Yeah, get you fired up a little bit.
Yeah, a week from Thursday, the draft.
maybe piss off Adam a little bit with the Patriots. Whatever we can do here on the podcast, we'll try to do here. I think he's coming on next week with the Warriors, so whatever we can do.
If he can get up.
But honestly, you do know a ton about the NFL. That's why we like to have you on here. And I just
Brian, first off, I just want to say how just unbelievable it is. You keep your hair as beautiful in the morning as you do at night. You're always studied like it.
What can I say? I like to have my hair looking good.
I wish Tyler would do the same thing.
And you take more pride in it.
Come on, Tyler. Take a little bit more pride in your product. Let's go. Get that beard looking good. Right, Brian? That's the key. You got to get that. He's got.
Yeah, I try to look like Pat McAfee from WWE.
Or the punter from the Colts a few years ago.
Tyler,
one of the best podcasts too.
You should shave too. Then you could be like Brian, Pat McAfee brothers right there.
Went to West Virginia. Love that.
Very good. All right, so NFL. Brian,
Sorry to derail you.
no, this is good. This is good stuff. Brian, big news this week. Justin Fields, Niners finally go to his pro day. They skip it on the first one. They gave him the middle finger the first time. They went to Mac Jones. This time they go to Fields. It looks like they're having just a big fat love fest. Him and Kyle Shanahan. I mean, look at this picture of them just loving each other. Just smooching it out. I'm just curious. Is it now? Was it all a smoke screen? Last time I was on, I said it was a smoke screen. Is this the Robert Griffin for the younger Shanahan? Your thoughts, sir?
I've just always thought it's been Fields the whole time. I mean, I just didn't think we traded all those picks for Mac Jones. I
love how you say
don't.
Mac
I
Jones.
don't even think he's an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest with you. Like, why would you do all that for Mac Jones?
I mean, would you rather take Lance over Mac Jones?
Yes.
I just think Mike Shanahan likes to have a little puppet that he can control what goes on. He doesn't want this improving guy in the back there. That's just my opinion on it. I would rather have Fields. I disagree with the whole, but I think this is more the smoke screen.
Hey, I've always thought the greatest flaw to Kyle Shanahan was that he actually was like a coach that wanted Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He just wants guys that
he actually kind of wanted him in that area.
And then it got to a point where the Redskins would always franchise him and they would never want to extend him. And then he ends up on the Vikings. So
he was drafted the same year as Robert Griffin, right?
Yeah, second round too. They went quarterback.
And they started him more the second year, right, or the first year?
Well, Griffin got hurt.
Yeah,
I think it was the second year. Yeah,
it was the second year.
Rob, he got
okay.
in that Seahawks playoff game.
I can't hear anything. It's this guy in slow mo.
All right, so we'll try that again as we're not.
Where's Brian starting?
That's good. All right, let's try that again, Brian. No, but let's get back to the whole thing I started this with to begin with. Tyler, let's get your thoughts on it. You started with it. Mac Jones, Brian says it. Nobody trades up for as type. He says it. Nobody says it better than Brian. Mac Jones. It's got to be Fields, right? I mean, but he's the Vegas favorite. It's got to be him, right? Tyler.
We're drawing me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. You, Tyler. It's got to be Fields, right?
I don't think it is Fields. I think this is all puppeteering now to try and get a move.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get someone to move up to take Fields, and they'll take Jones.
How do you trade 3 first-round picks? You said it yourself. For
I'm not. I wouldn't do it. I just think that's what's going to happen.
I don't know. That's just.
I'm a pessimist. This draft has been ruined for me. If they take Fields, I'm just going to be like, thank God they aren't stupid.
Okay, let me ask you guys this thing. What do you guys think if you guys, as Niners fans, if you guys do get Fields as your quarterback, right? Because you both prefer him over Mac Jones and Lance, it sounds like.
I'd rather have Lance.
You would rather have Lance. All right, but let's just say you get Fields because it sounds like Lance is not going to happen. How do you think that changes the outlook of the Niners season? Like, will you guys as fans be a little bit like the typical fan where Garoppolo's 1-2 or 2-2 and be like, get this guy in the game? Or how are you guys going to look at the season if Fields is actually your quarterback?
Absolutely. I give him one loss. Once you have a losing record, you're out. One loss first week, you're out. We traded 3 first-round picks. Get your ass in there.
Brian, your thoughts?
I mean, I guess I would say it's going to make the season a lot more exciting. I mean, because we at least have somebody behind Garoppolo who, has potential. We never had anybody behind Garoppolo.
So you're saying you would bench Garoppolo then after he loses a couple games?
I mean, I probably would give him at least 3 or 4 games before yanking him.
But that's what it sounds like they're not drafting him for. It sounds like they're actually drafting this guy to sit out the whole season. Doesn't it sound like that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Garoppolo plays good enough, then he's probably going to sit the whole season.
I don't know. We'll see what the Niners do. They hold the key, I feel like, to this whole draft. If they go Mac Jones, then things get crazy a little bit. So let's just say in a world they do go Mac Jones or Lands. Let's talk about our boy Adam here on the podcast next week. Hopefully, talk about the Warriors. Obviously, Brian, you're not the biggest Patriots fan. I'm not either. Let's be honest about it. But I want to get our thoughts on them because I feel like they're the team that's going to trade up if one of those quarterbacks slips. And I keep hearing Fields possibly could slip to the Patriots. That would be just a nightmare scenario, I feel like, for fans like ourselves if that happened, where if he somehow fell to like 7 or something and the Patriots were able to grab him.
I'm going to say there's no way that happens.
How do you know?
As a guy who hates the Patriots, that cannot happen.
Would he be even that good on the Patriots? They still do not. They have 2 tight ends that are pretty good. And
well, the Patriots realized this year, Tyler, though, they can't have a quarterback that throws for 47 yards and wins a game.
Justin Fields is like person is Cam Newton that they compare him to. It's not like.
Yeah, but isn't he a lot more accurate and throws a little bit harder than Newton ever did? Newton would seem like more the running quarterback. Newton
threw pistols at the beginning.
Yeah, but it seemed like he was more the running quarterback to me. I guess you're right, but it seems like if the Patriots got him, that'd be a pretty good upgrade. Doesn't Mac Jones seem like a possible Patriot as well?
It makes more sense than Fields doing.
What do the Patriots do? Do they trade down, or do they just stick where they're at?
They're probably trading down. That's what their MO is. They do it every year.
Let's look at. I looked up a couple mock drafts over here, Brian. I want to get your mock draft here in a second here.
I'll give them clues.
Well, I don't want to give them any clues here in a second. I'll get out of this. But before we get off,
I already know who I'm taking. So
let's wrap this up with the Patriots. And who do you think they're going with? You think they're going to get? You think they stay? They trade up or they do anything? Because they just seem like the team that kind of needs something.
Yeah, I just feel like in my mock draft, I have them trading up with Detroit and taking Mac Jones.
Okay, so you do feel like they're a Mac Jones type. That's where they're in the play for. I'm kind of interested in the guy at Pitts. That's the guy I feel like is the game changer in this draft. So let's get into your top 10 mock draft here right now. Obviously, we know your first 2 is probably going to be the blonde bombshell Lawrence to the Jaguars, right? You got Tyler, who do you say with number 2?
Jimmy Clausen.
Jimmy Clausen, number 2.
I mean, that's pretty much a lock at this point.
Zach Wilson to the Jets. Who goes to the Niners? What's the pick at this point right now with your inside information? You're on the cell phone once a day. Who are you with? Who are you talking to who do you think the Niners are taking right now?
It's Fields. It's always been Fields. They're going to take them.
I don't pray to Jesus, but when I do, I pray for Justin Fields.
You pray for Justin Fields. Well, I have a feeling that they will. I think that's who you're going to get. If it lands to be,
it's actually
a surprise pick.
Anyone but Mac Jones, I pray for. Just don't give me the Mac.
I'm writing this down, Brian, right now, just to let you know, so we have this for next time down. Who do we got for your 4th pick here in the draft?
I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts going. Yeah.
Who? Kyle Pitts. Yeah,
this guy's the most overrated player.
Kyle Pitts.
I don't think you're right about that. I have to disagree. I think Kyle Pitts.
All right, we'll wait and see.
If the Falcons get him
I think he could be an offensive stud.
Who?
He could be, but I've heard that about tight ends the last 8 years, and they all turn into like these mediocre players.
Yeah, he looks different. I mean, Vernon Davis is still a Hall of Famer, and he was drafted in the top 10.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
You don't think he'll be a Hall of Famer?
He shouldn't be if he is. Football's too hard with the 5 guys every year.
Maybe so. All right. So who else you got next then, Brian?
And then 5, I'm gonna go with Sewell going to the Bengals.
That's the offensive lineman. That's the offensive lineman from Oregon, right?
Yeah, that seems like they really need offensive line for Burrow.
Now, I brought up the idea of them taking the receiver from LSU because
No, I brought that idea up. Let's steal my idea.
Well, we can go back to
And then the Alabama guy going to Tua.
all right. So what do you think? What do you think, Tyler? Do you think they should go receiver?
Sorry, go ahead.
What do you think, Brian? Brian, so do you think they should go receiver, or are you saying that this is what you think they'll do?
I just think they need an offensive line, and he's the best offensive line in the draft. And
Yeah, I guess when your
him.
quarterback breaks his leg, you probably need to draft an offensive lineman.
I feel like he's just not that number one. I feel like he's like the Jason Baker from the Rams, like in 2003 or 5, or I don't know what year. All these bad O-linemen. I'm not sold on him either.
All right, here's the NFL draft order here. So we got the Falcons there 4, Bengals 5, Dolphins. What do they do?
I'm gonna say they get Devontae Smith from Alabama.
Yeah, match him up with Tua. That's not a bad idea. How about and then you said Mac Jones and the Lions make the trade, right?
Get him on.
Do you think
I just think.
Go ahead,
the
Brian.
Patriots trade up and they get Mac Jones at 6 or 7.
At 7 there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get Adam's reaction on Mac Jones going to the Patriots at 7. I have a feeling he's not going to be a fan of that one there. Panthers, they trade for Darnold, right? We didn't get your thought on that one, Tyler. We didn't even talk about that. So I guess what's your guys' thoughts on Darnold? Let's start with you, T. What do you think of Darnold? Do you think it matters at all?
I think the Panthers need to hire the Ghostbusters to get ghosts out of his head. See where he can go. If I'm the Panthers, I'm taking Trey Lance if this is on the draft.
3 quarterbacks, Bridgewater.
Bridgewater and their relationship's done, so I would send him home.
Okay, so you got him there. Brian, you got the same thing with the Panthers?
Yeah, I remember I kind of said that they would be one of the teams that would be interested in Darnold.
You did. I was that's why you're baby chef. You get that stuff right for us. So who do you got the Panthers taking then?
I think they're going to take that linebacker out of Penn State, Parsons.
They always seem to have good linebackers, though. They're I wouldn't be surprised if they seem like a franchise that always takes the linebacker when they don't.
And they need to replace Luke Kuechly. So
don't they need some receivers though too? I mean, if they have the LSU guy available, I don't know. All right.
I guess DJ Moore's good. They could go with Chase there, but
yeah.
All
right. So how about the Broncos and then the Cowboys here to wrap it up? What do you got the Broncos doing at 9?
I think they're going to end up taking Lance out of North Dakota.
Give up on Locke,
or at least
Well, Locke's give upable. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Locke is garbage. Hot garbage.
He's give upable for sure. And then who you got the Cowboys taking?
The Surtain the third out of Alabama. They need cornerback hell badly. The Cowboys.
No, I think Jerry Jones will select Jalen Waddle, another receiver, to boost that offense.
God, again?
That's what he does.
7 receivers.
Terrible pick.
Yeah,
you have Chase and Waddle leading the top 10. Yeah, he's already nuts.
Yeah, that's. All right, Brian, that's a good top 10 there. We're gonna do that. The draft's on the 29th, so we'll probably have you on that weekend, just get your final mock draft there too. We're gonna take a quick little break here. We'll be back.
One quick question, Brian. Is this the worst defensive draft in 20 years?
Yeah.
No.
There isn't a lot. There isn't a lot of defensive standouts this year.
Yeah, there's not. There's no that one player you have to have.
I guess you said linebacker at 8, so that's pretty far for a defensive player to be picked.
Yeah, I mean, usually you would have somebody maybe in the top.
Like a D end.
Yeah, somebody like that for sure. All right, we'll be back with the rest of the NFL segments here. We've got some topics that we want to wrap it up and get Brian's opinion on. We'll We'll be back. All right, we're back. NFL now. We're moving on from the draft a little bit here. Like we said, we'll get that from Brian here in a couple of weeks. Brian, there's some other NFL topics we want to get your thoughts on here. We only have you on a couple times a week here, or a couple times every month here. So I want to get your thoughts. Clowney to the Browns. He gets 0 sacks last year with the Titans. Is he actually a fraud or is he a good player?
I feel like you gotta keep him motivated. That's his
How do you keep him
problem.
motivated? I mean, like he's just a defensive end that rushes the passer. What are they supposed to go out there and be like, go get him? Like, I mean, is he good? I just wanted to like, is he getting double teamed? Is like, what's the deal?
I think it's gonna help being on the Browns because he's got Myles Garrett and guys around him that can maybe help him and maybe he can contribute the way he did with the Seahawks.
Ryan
You're gonna
nailed
say
it on
South
the
Carolina.
head. He has Myles Garrett there. When he was good on the Texans, you had Watt, and when he was good on the Seahawks, you had Clemens, or I think it was Clemens. As the end, we need someone else to take some pressure off him.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that needs that type of help there. We talked about the Cowboys with the 10th pick before we wrapped it up here. So he goes to the Browns, right? So maybe you think the Browns actually have like, I think like 10 or something, 10 or 12 create like first round picks or something like that since like 2010, something like that on their roster. And they're starting to make better strides. Are they a better ran organization than the Cowboys now?
Yeah, way better run. I mean,
Way better?
yeah.
I mean, we're joking about the Cowboys taking another receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the Browns are on the upswing in the AFC.
So Jerry Jones is Al Davis to you guys, basically, now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the Browns are well run. I think they've been very good the last 4 years, but I don't know if that's just blind luck and they just happen to get lucky for the 4 years out of 30.
Oh,
I
man.
But
Are you,
right
do you think
now,
the
they're-
Browns actually get better? I don't think they get out of the first round next year somehow. Do you? They're
no,
better next year?
I don't trust Baker Mayfield.
Baker Potato.
I don't know. I just think that they're
Our guy
on-
and I don't know sports would agree with you there, Tyler. Just to let you know. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
I would
We're
say
not going to agree.
they're going to be one of my surprise teams for next year.
The
'Cause I
Browns,
think they can get even better than they were last year.
they're going to be like I feel like that's the team everybody's going to pick to want to be like. That's going to be like the sexy pick is the Browns again. So the Cowboys, though, if man, they're that bad, Rand, they're in trouble. That's good. They signed Prescott, though. And if anything other NFL wise that kind of caught your attention this week?
I was listening to someone and speaking of the Browns, they're saying they have like a top 3 roster in the NFL. It's like the Browns. I don't know about top. Is it that good? And then I was thinking it is pretty good, like all the way around. Like they have good secondary. They got the best pass rusher in the NFL, or one of.
Good receivers.
And then they have weapons everywhere, and Baker's not best. He could be. We'll see. He had a good year last year.
Yeah, they got good tight ends. I mean, yeah, they do have a good team for sure.
Yeah, they have great O-line. Chubb and Hunt is lethal.
And the Steelers are ready to be taken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robinson is 40 now.
If you're gonna get the Steelers, this is the year, right?
Yeah, because they're on the down. They don't have anything on offense really around Big Ben anymore, like they used to when they had
And Big Ben's not that good anymore either.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. And
They have the TikTok dancer.
they do have that.
Juju.
Hey, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on they had the over unders on some of these the stats for some of the teams. And Vegas just had some of the over unders on. So I want to get some of the teams for you. So they have the Niners at 10.5. Vegas does next year. So what do you think they go over? Remember,
That's a big under.
they finish 11-6 now, 17 game schedule.
Oh, there's another extra game.
Does that feel weird? 11-6 is now. There's no more 8-6 or so. No more of that. 9-6 or anything like that. So we got the Niners at 10.5. You think they get over that?
I mean, if they have a really good draft, I mean, I think they could be a 10-win team. I
They're
think
drafting Fields. Let's say. So basically, they draft Mac Jones under. If they draft Fields over, you're saying, is that what it is?
I'm just saying the rest of the draft, like second or third round picks if they pick up like talent that they need.
This is the NFC West. They have the NFC West pretty loaded. Niners at 10.5, the Seahawks at 9.5, Rams at 10, Arizona at 8. So a pretty,
The
pretty.
Niners are the favorites
Niners are the favorite there based on the division there. So
over under.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any way that they're gonna have the injury issues that they had last year. I think they're gonna be
It is
healthy
football,
this year.
Brian.
the Raiders, just to let you know, are at 7.5. John Gruden going down and is getting 6th year, and they have less win projections year in and year out. That can't be a good sign. Patriots 9.5 there, and then Tampa
That's
Bay.
a big under,
Wow, that's way under. I go way under than that.
like a 5.
Yeah.
5?
For the
Wow.
Patriots.
Disrespectful to have.
Then look at they have nobody.
Yeah, Edelman retired, so they have no receivers now.
Yeah, but they have Belichick, and they have Newton still.
That's the 2 tight ends.
They trade for Mac Jones, according to Brian.
Let's not buy the Patriot. I think Belichick was a product of Brady.
Exactly.
9.5. All right. So, but remember, there is 17 games there. All right. You mentioned. Okay, let's get Tampa Bay real quick. 11.5. Can they get?
That's
Can they
under.
get to 11-6? 11-6. 12 and.
No, that's not
12
enough if it's 11.5.
I know 12-5. That sounds weird, right? It's not 12 and
Yeah,
4 anymore.
they're not getting that high. I'm not going that
Does
high.
that sound weird, or is that just me? 12-5.
Yeah, it's really weird.
My brain isn't used to that. It's not used to that saying yet. 12-5.
All those franchise modes, it was never 12-5.
I wanted to get into Brian. You mentioned him, Edelman. He retired. That was the thing I wanted to bring up this week. And people always bring up, him in the Hall of Fame, especially after he won that MVP in the Super Bowl. I'm gonna bring up his stats real quick while we're talking here, just to kind of share his stats here. To give his 3-time Super Bowl champion, never made a Pro Bowl or anything like that. I don't see how he makes a Hall of Fame. There's just no chance.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
I mean, his best year, he caught 105 balls. And his best yardage was 1,117. That was the year before he retired. The most touchdowns he's ever had in 1 year, let's see, is what am I reading that wrong? That can't be right. I saw 19. I was like, that can't be right. It was 1 yard. Oh, here we go. 7. So only 7. That can't be. No, that's not right. I can't. What the heck am I reading?
I feel like he was more of a playoff performer than a regular season.
Yeah, he definitely was that more. So, but in the playoff, he always did have a way of coming through on like third downs in the playoffs. He was definitely a clutch receiver, that's for sure.
He got concussed in that Seattle game, making a catch over the middle, and he stayed on his feet somehow. You guys remember that play?
Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a gamer for sure. I also remember him. I also remember him for winning the Super Bowl. And then a girl posted a picture of him sleeping in her next to him, saying, "I just slept with the Super Bowl MVP." I was like, "That is messed up, lady. You could not do that." That's also I feel like.
I think that was his wife.
No, it was not his wife.
I think it was like he was joking.
I don't know about that one. That is suspect. So that's my Edelman memory. No, but just for Adam's sake, I had to bring him up, and just for.
I think New England should be happy. Just put them in their little ring of honor. And
But the Hall of Fame talks, no way, right?
No.
No, he can't hold Tim Brown's jock, let alone people in the Hall of Fame, like top.
I think my Edelman memory was after one of the Super Bowls, he like messed up a car or something. He got really rowdy.
This is gonna be like you in Miami, buddy. It's gonna be you gotta watch it. You gotta be Rowdy Brian. We gotta do a podcast from there, live stream. We gotta call you. We'll call you up and be like, see where you're at.
It's some strippers.
No, we don't want to go Paul Pierce on this. We don't go Paul Pierce here on this. Right? We don't want to go there with it. But no, that'd be fun. Brian, you got anything else NFL that we should know about?
I guess Mike Lombardi was on the radio and he seemed to get pretty offended because he thinks he's like the ultimate source, and he's just convinced Fields is not going 3, and he seemed to think, he doesn't know where all these sources are coming from. But then, when the Cardinals were, number 1, he said, "Oh, they're not going to take Murray." So I don't know how much of a credible source he is. So I just
Brian,
thought
you
it was
think if
funny. They said that.
if I change my last name to Lombardi, I'll get people to follow me on Twitter?
Yeah, because people would think
Isn't that
you're
like a cheat code to be a inside source and have the last name Lombardi? Be like,
Yeah, but he's got the last name Johnson. That's right. That's really good. That's really good too. Yeah,
doesn't get much better.
that's not a bad last name.
I guess I'm telling Mike Lombardi, I know more than you do, buddy.
Have you seen my last name? It's
Yes,
Johnson.
you do. And that's why we're glad you're on. I hope we have Adam on next week so we can get his thoughts on your Patriots thoughts as well. Brian, we'll have you on in a couple weeks, right, buddy? We'll do the podcast here with you. And,
All right, cool.
All right, buddy. Well, me and Tyler will wrap it up here in a sec, but we'll see you in a couple weeks here for the final mock draft.
All right,
Peace.
talk to you guys later.
See you,
All
bro.
right, later, Brian.
All right, later.
Later.
It's a big finger coming at you.
That's
you made the butt.
that's great. It's always good to get Brian's thoughts on it. I love his passion though. I that's why I think the live stream with him during the draft, especially if they take Mac Jones,
It's gonna be classic.
it would be fantastic. It'd be fantastic. I really hope Adam comes on next week. We got to get his Warriors takes. We got to get his thoughts on the Patriots. I'd love to get.
I'd love to hear him talk about Draymond Green and defend this garbage.
Yeah, exactly. This is a long podcast. For the people out there that follow us, thank you for listening. For you that don't, well, this might help you fall asleep.
Follow us, subscribe, like.
This might help you fall
Leave a
asleep.
comment.
What I tell my wife, if it really bores you that much, it will help you fall asleep. So there you go. That's my final advice.
Can be white noise.
That's my final tip.
Have a good one,
I'm
Dave.
looking forward to doing the rewatchable tomorrow with Casey. on
Yeah,
the
bringing
Sunday
Casey
hours
back.
game. Yeah, it'll be good to do that game with them a little bit. Do that game. Nash, Howard, Terry. Look forward to that. We'll put that
Dirk.
on the podcast.
A
Well,
little
Tyler.
passing from Dirk.
Yep, we'll get all that as well. So good podcast this week, T. It was fun. Good golfing with you. All right, buddy.
Yep.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Later.
Later.